Some lyrics of Joy Division that you keep in mind. Keep in mind. I mean, they're all in my mind because I'm doing them, like today. Joy Division, we're very lucky to have a lyricist like Ian Curtis because his lyrics really are special. And when you compare them to New Order, you realise how special they are. So I have many in my mind, and I know them all as well, which is the frightening bit, because we've sung every Joy Division song that was ever written and recorded. The lyric that always sticks in my mind is about life, funnily enough, and it's by New Order, and it's from a song called Senses. And when everybody asks me, how's life, I always say, it comes and it goes. It frightens me. And that's the lyric that always sticks in my mind, which unfortunately is not a Joy Division lyric. Do you have a big mouth? I used to have a very big mouth, actually, when I was drinking, but since I stopped drinking it's become a little quieter. Although one of the problems about being old and of having so many adventures is that generally when you're together, like we were before with the boys, you have so many stories to tell. So I suppose you would have to say that yes, you have a big mouth, because big mouth people are usually assertive, hopefully not arrogant, but eager to get their point across. So that's what I'd like to think. What was so special about the Hacienda? There were many special things about the Hacienda. The very special thing was that it was funded by a record company and musicians. It was built not for profit. It didn't make any profit. So it was a very altruistic method of entertaining a city. It was built simply because people like us had nowhere to go, and we wanted people like us to belong somewhere, and that's why we built the Hacienda. It was inspired by New York nightclubs, ended up nothing like a New York nightclub, and became more or less the template for successful big clubs. Now I see clubs that are built in 2010, 2005 that look just like the Hacienda. So Ben Kelly's design was very, very far ahead of its time, but was not actually suited to a nightclub, which was interesting. So there were many special things about it. The drugs, the violence, the music, the people. You should read a book about it. Oh, I've written a book about it called How Not to Run a Club. So there you go. That's very special. Lose yourself to dance. That's interesting. That's could be construed in many ways. I lost myself to dance music and have lost myself in dance music many, many times. I'm a great fan of dance music, and when I DJ, I actually play mostly dance music, which everybody around me, all my friends and colleagues, hate. But kids love it. So I think the thing is that my friends and colleagues aren't really in clubs on a Saturday night. So it's nice to please people. I learnt that as a DJ, I went through a period of annoying people by playing rubbish, really. Johnny Cash, Buzzcocks, you can't dance to. I had to learn how to do it. And yeah, it's very important to keep the moment and keep the night going. And the great thing about DJs is that when they're good, people don't notice them. And when they're bad, it's the first thing that people notice. Well, it's quite an art. So yeah, I do lose myself in dance music frequently. The track you rely on as a DJ. I have two, actually, that I rely on as a DJ. One is Left Field, Born Slippy, because if you're having a bad night and you put that on, it doesn't get better than it's over. And the other one is White Stripes, which is Seven Nation Army. And it's the same reason. If you put that on and it doesn't get the night going, then it's over. The interesting thing about DJing is that every time you play, every audience is different. Whereas when you play a gig, generally, the audience are there to see you. So you can literally do anything you want and you're okay, unless you're desperately bad. But as a DJ, you're going to where people generally are. So you do have to work and you have to prove yourself every time. And it's very nerve-wracking. Playing the bass on your knees. I played it on my knees a couple of times. I can't remember why, probably fell over because I was drunk. But as my mother said, you do need a gimmick. And my gimmick was to play low. I was inspired to play low by Jean-Jacques Spinell and Paul Simonon of The Clash, for the simple reason that I thought it looked better and looked good and looked cool and hip. It's given me a distorted spine. So beware, all of you bass players that play low. You will suffer eventually. But no, I mean, I always felt there was a kind of subconscious desire maybe to try and get away from it. It did make me think that somehow. I'm sure a psychiatrist would have looked at it in an interesting way. But no, I mean, it's all about looking good, isn't it? 24-hour party people or control. They're both so different that they go together quite well. 24-hour party people was a very comedic look, a funny look at Factory, because Michael Winterbottom felt that none of us knew what we were doing, but we didn't care about the outcome. We were just living in the moment, and he thought that it led to some very farcical situations, but we always seemed to come out of them well. And he wrote it to entertain and make people laugh, whereas Control was entirely the opposite. Anton Corbijn did it to show the seriousness and the gravity behind what Joy Division and particularly Ian Curtis went through. So really, for the same group, you couldn't get two films that were so far apart. So no, I like them both equally. Control breaks your heart though, it's very intense. 24-hour party people, at least I can laugh at it. So, depends what mood you're in. Do drugs bring inspiration? No, I don't think so. I think that it depends when you get your inspiration, but generally they make you unable. And I do think that Tony Wilson did say the best thing about drugs in the studio, in that he said that when drugs come in the studio, creativity goes out the other door. Because, you know, I've been in situations where they've come and they never make it better. Well, it just doesn't work. It's like being drunk in charge of a car. You know, the chances are you're going to crash somewhere. And that's, to me, but I mean, you know, I've been inspired by drugs. I've been off my head a few times and thought, oh God, yeah, this track, wow, I want to emulate it, or this band, I want to sound like them, or I want to do this. Yeah, so it depends. I'd say yes. They do bring inspiration, but using that inspiration is the difficult part.
Manchester, birthplace to the railways, the computer, the bouncing bomb. In 1976, if you wanted to see the most exciting bands in the world, they were on a regional show coming out of Manchester. My show. I'm Tony Wilson.
Do you miss New Order? No, I don't actually. No, I don't. It's interesting though, because I'm still surrounded by them. I'm going through a lengthy court battle with them still, so I'm still very involved with them. I would love to miss them, actually. I would love to be able to wish them well, but because of what they did, reforming without my consent and without my knowledge, and because of the business ramifications they left behind, so you're never going to be able to be in a situation where you can look fondly at it until, you know, we're all happy and we all go our separate ways. So, do I miss them? No, I miss the angst. It was a very unhappy time. You know, I mean, I was convinced that Bernard hated the group, which is why I split it up, because it was going nowhere. Everybody was miserable. You were doing it just for the money. So it was a very sad state of affairs, especially because of the way that we started. So no, I don't miss them. No, I mean, I have a much better time now, and I think that as you get older, I think it becomes more about making yourself happy. And I think old men are very bad at compromising. And I think I can safely say that if Bad Lieutenant had been a success, New Order would not have come back. I know that for a fact. Ta-da! The Absolute Musician, is that in the vodka? It's Absolute vodka. There's only one person that I admire musically for doing things themselves, where you'd say they were an absolute musician. They're very totalitarian. They do everything to their own satisfaction, which is Neil Young. But he makes such fantastic music whilst he's doing it. I mean, Neil Young is not a band. It's just him. And he pleases himself in everything that he does. So I suppose you'd have to say for a musician, he is more or less the absolute. You know, he plays so well and still seems to love what he does. But he does it there's no compromise with Neil Young. So I'd say he's an absolute musician, in my opinion.
Out of the blue and into the black, they give you this, but you pay for that.
Punk forever, yeah. I mean, a punk, I think it's like a religion, really. You remember why you started music. It was to be a punk, to change things, to do things your way, to be awkward, to smash the system. And I think New Order and Joy Division did a lot of very unique things, and they still act uniquely. I thought the punkiest thing we've ever did was not putting the singles on the albums, and it was so refreshing that everybody thought you were crazy to do it, and yet it seemed very logical. Why would you buy a track twice? That didn't make sense to us. But you know, things change and people change. But yeah, I still like to think I'm a bit punky. Slow down or accelerate. At 57, I should be slowing down, but I'm not, and that does worry me. I don't seem to have it in me to slow down, and I'm the fittest I've ever been, which is quite worrying. I'm actually fitter now at 57 than I was at 21, and that is weird. Probably something to do with me not drinking and not taking drugs anymore, I would have thought, because I do everything to the extreme. I have a very extreme personality. So no, I show no signs of slowing down. I think you have an appreciation as you get older, in that you appreciate different things. You know, now, when I'm at home, I attack the garden like a lunatic. So no, I don't seem to be able to slow down, I'm afraid. And even my last car, my car that I bought very recently is a 6.3 V8 twin turbo Mercedes. So yeah, I'm still accelerating.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hope it was okay.
Au revoir.
Hope it was okay.